Hey guys, this is that guy Shawn. I want to talk about family. So family is a huge topic. I'm in South Korea right now, and family is so important. Very different than some Western cultures where family is still important, but they kind of manage themselves differently. So how do members of a family support each other is the first question, right? The first thing I can think of is that, in the West, obviously, sometimes around 18, 19, you're kind of expected to move out, or sometimes even younger, go find your own way. Whereas in Asia, many women especially, and even men, they'll stay at home until they get married. So even in their late 20s, even early 30s, they'll have their bedroom with their family and save up money, along with the help of their parents and even grandparents, until they're ready to go start their own family. But there's no living this bachelor time in your 20s where you're living in different, apartments with roommates. It just doesn't happen over here. How do you feel about that? Put that into words. Who do you think has the most power in the family? Is it the father who has the most power? Or is it the wife, right, who manages the money and the children and manages many things actually these days? So how do you feel specifically? Do you agree with the saying children should be seen and not heard? Why do you agree or disagree? I often joked that if I do have children, that I want them to go to a private academy from the ages 13 to 19, and when they come back, then they can speak with me. Obviously, I'm joking there, but I know actually many people feel in that way. How do you feel? How do you feel? Are good family members or good friends more important? Why? Right. So many of my Western friends, they moved out of their families quite young, and close friends become more like family to them. And I know other people as well would never talk to their parents about different situations, but go to friends to solve problems. How about you? What has been your personal experience, and how do you think someone should live their life? What problems do parents have to solve as their children grow up? So what are some problems that you think parents have to concern themselves with? How close are you to your extended family? Cousins, aunts, great uncles, etc. I know some people, their cousins are like their brothers or sisters. They get along really well, sometimes with cousins, more than their, immediate family. How about, what is it like for you? What is the perfect number of children a family should have? This really varies depending on what country you're from. But for you, what do you feel? And can you explain why? What do you think of people who marry and decide not to have children? So this is popular. Some people, they definitely want to have a partner, but they don't want to have a family. Maybe they both want to focus on their careers together. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you would do? Are you interested in doing? Or do you feel that there's something wrong with that? And why? How could you explain yourself? How do you think Western families and Eastern families differ? This is a great question. How do you think Western, Canadian, American, Australian families differ from many, Korean, Brazilian, Chinese, Japanese families? I put Brazilian in there. That's not Eastern, but, just different families. What do you think is the most important thing to make a happy family? Right? I would say time. Families need to spend time together. And, I have friends that, came from a very wealthy family but never had time with their parents. And the time they did have was not necessarily relaxing or comfortable. What has been your experience? What do you believe? Is it better for mothers to stay at home with kids or go to work to earn more money for the family? Great question. I'm not even going to answer that. What is your belief? Many families send their children to private institutes or daycares for most of the day. Is this good or bad? And explain why could it be bad and why is it good sometimes. How do you define the word home? Is it where you live, where your family lives, or where you grew up? Right? Many people say a house is not a home, right? Just because you're in a house with other people or a building, if there's not love there, if there's not care, then it's not a home. What is your feelings on that? Can two married people be a family if they don't have kids? Again, some older people, conservative, might say, no, you're not a family until you have children. Others would say, you're a family. Even just two friends living together can be a family. What is your view? And how do you think family life is changing in your country? For example, the wife will be working. Sometimes the husband stays home and is in cleaning, or he's studying or doing online. Kids are in institutes. Is this change good or bad overall? What do you think of spanking or hitting children? Why or why not? I have some friends that got hit a lot by their parents and they think it's a good thing. It kept them in line. I know other people that don't even like to raise their voice to their children. Raise their voice, no negative energy. How do you feel about that? How would you raise your children, or how have you raised your children? And has that worked? What age is too young to get married is a great question. Why do people even get married? Why do we continue doing this? Some people say that it's going out of trend. That eventually we're not going to get married anymore. Other people still believe that it's not. Some people believe society just makes us get married, right? Just to keep us in line. Others believe no, it's deep in our genetic makeup, and it's important. It'll bring us true happiness once we find that other, and we begin to start to raise a family, have children, have responsibility. That is the true, way of a man or a woman, and that's how we can find pure happiness in our lives and purpose. What is your view? And if you were offered an excellent job abroad, could you leave your family and country for 5 years? So I'm living in South Korea, so obviously I am willing to leave friends and family, right, to pursue what I believe is my destiny or purpose, or greater opportunities. Would you be able to do that? If I had a wife and children, I'm not sure if I would be able to do that. What is your view? There was a lot of great questions in here. Definitely, I hope you're taking the time to think about it, talk about it. If you don't have an answer, but you have like a word you want to use, write down the word, and even as homework, write like a little script of what you want to say, and then do it next time, or prepare, like almost a small speech. Have grammar mistakes in there. Don't let that hold you back. Just have your idea and try to communicate it with the English words that you do have in terms of family. Family is a great topic because everyone comes from a family. So everyone has an experience, and you can talk to anyone about family. And obviously there's always problems in some families. So there's always a lot of content. There's always a lot of stuff to talk about, and it gives you more practice and more words for you to learn and to use and to get more comfortable talking about family in the English language. Thanks, guys. The questions are below.